Major red flags are surfacing over what the Trump regime claims was a fifth assassination attempt directed at Donald Trump, this time by a drone swarm at the UFC event. Donald Trump's FBI director, Kash Patel, is saying today that the FBI prevented a fifth assassination attempt against Donald Trump when a group of people, with the ringleader being from Ohio, were about to launch these drones to attack the White House. Now, folks, I think there are major red flags with this story. In fact, go back and watch what I reported on Sunday morning. I'll show that to you in a little bit. Before the UFC event, I was telling you that my sources were saying that they were going to try to fake a drone attack or gin up that there was a drone attack on the White House that they were going to divert. It's literally the video I made Sunday morning. And here we are on Tuesday when I'm recording this, and that's precisely what they are claiming. Now, this comes at the same time that the Washington Post did an expose that the ballroom that Donald Trump wants to build is going to cost about $600 million, and half of the funding is going to come from taxpayers. So I think it's reasonable to ask questions. Are you using this as a pretext to now build a ballroom because Donald Trump has been saying that part of the ballroom is that it's drone proof and that any drone that hits it will kind of magically evaporate. I'll show you what Donald Trump said there in a moment. But let's just go through this. Let's bring out the receipts piece by piece, as we always do here at the MeidasTouch Network. So what did Kash Patel state this morning? And then what did Fox, which is state regime media, instantly report? Kash Patel posts the following. On June 10th, FBI and our law enforcement partners became aware of a potential threat to the UFC America 250 event in Washington involving individuals outside of the National Capital Region. And thanks to the rapid action of this FBI, our partners in the Department of Justice, in a multi-state operation, multiple individuals are now in custody, and allegedly planned attacks were stopped cold. While the result represented the best of investigative work, it was also nothing out of the ordinary for this law enforcement team. We are built to detect, respond, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens, particularly during large gatherings like the historic UFC 250 fight. That's exactly what we did here. I want to thank our great agents and partners. This work remains ongoing, and we will continue to update the public as permitted. We continue to encourage any American to report anything suspicious at 1-800-CALL-FBI. So they're saying this is the fifth assassination attempt on Donald Trump, and this is the third in basically a month at this point, or a month and a half. So state regime media, which calls itself Fox, then runs this headline. FBI disrupts alleged explosive drone plot targeting White House UFC event, officials say. Signal chats allegedly revealed 23 people discussing pre-operational activity. So who was the ringleader? Apparently they're claiming it's this guy right here, an individual by the name of Tyson Proper, 19 years old, from Knox County, Ohio. Seemed that he was someone who was in a signal chat, who was calling out Donald Trump and Epstein class and making a lot of statements on the signal chat with 22 buddies or people that he knew. And this was the terrorist cell that they said was planning on launching this attack. Now we have the indictment that was brought. And it seems that most of the work was actually being done by Knox County in central Ohio, not by the FBI. Just Kash Patel learned about this and wants to, I guess, take credit for this and I think exaggerate what this is. Look, I want to take all threats very seriously. I'm not trying to demean or downplay, these things, but we called what was going to happen. And it just seems, you could disagree with me, that at worst, it was just 23 people who were just saying a bunch of crazy stuff, which is bad and needs to be investigated. But they're acting like this was some plot that was about to go down, or, this is all something that the FBI is using again as yet another kind of false flag or pretext, just asking questions in order to justify this ballroom and the other fascist agendas of this regime. Look, you go through this this filing by the DOJ and FBI. Let's go to paragraph 19. Some of the more serious members of this group that was involved in this apparent drone plan, including Proper, that's the guy you saw, Tyson Proper, the 19-year-old, moved their communications over to the encrypted communication app Signal. There, they planned an attack for the upcoming White House UFC event. Proper believed many of the group members had prior military experience. The group was broken up into 3 tiers, with Tier 1 having to meet physical fitness standards and acquire equipment such as personal body armor and firearms. Proper admitted to being one of the team leaders. This guy was the Tier 1 guy. This guy was the Tier 1 team leader. I'm just saying, you can take a look at what the guy looks like. Interview with Proper's mother, as Kyle Seraphin says. The bad guys online were ultra-religious, anti-government, citing grievances involving corruption, the Epstein files, and data centers taking up all the water. On June 11th, I contacted Proper's mother for a telephone interview. This is what the FBI account of it was. For additional information, she detailed Proper had recently begun interacting with a group online comprised of individuals who claimed to be ex-military and Christian-based. She didn't know the name of the group, but they expressed ultra-religious, anti-government sentiments, specifically citing grievances about government corruption, the handling of the Epstein files, data centers, taking up all water in communities, and other government actions. Proper's mother detailed that talking with these individuals online has caused Proper to lean heavily into his religion, and she believed those individuals were using religion to manipulate and influence her son. And now another one of the purported leaders of this drone assassination plot was somebody by the name of Michael Allen Thomas. And here's how state regime media, which calls itself Fox, writer and reporter Bill Mulligan details it. Breaking. Details via federal arrest affidavit reveal that a California man named Michael Allen Thomas was also one of the alleged organizers of the alleged UFC White House terror plot. Feds say he admitted he believes the U.S. government is run by elites who sacrifice and eat children, had involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and are protected by President Trump. Investigators took screenshots of his Signal chats in which details of the plot were discussed and maps of the UFC event were shown with suggestions on where snipers should be placed. Feds also recovered rifles and ammo. Sources tell colleagues David's punt those in custody are American citizens and there is no foreign nexus believed to be at play. So then J.D. Vance did an appearance on state regime media, which calls itself Fox today. J.D. Vance was very heavy on the eyeliner this morning during his appearance, and here's what he had to say. Play this clip.
It's very scary. We learned about this, about 30 minutes ago, an hour ago in the middle of our show.
Sure.
Why do you think they're telling us this? Because I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes with the FBI.
Sure.
We don't always find out. Why do you think they're telling us this now? And what's your reaction?
Well, I think they're telling us because the scale of the planned attack is so significant. And I think it's important for us to be as transparent as we can be about these ongoing investigations. We want to tell the American people what's going on, of course. But I actually just heard about it this morning myself. And so this is a very, very dark stuff. And unfortunately, we're talking about this a little bit off camera, but this is what happens when people turn the rhetoric up so loud that disagreeing with somebody is a cause for violence. That's the place that we've come to, unfortunately, with too much of our political rhetoric.
And then, of course, on what they call on state regime media, Fox and Friends, they went into this story. Drone attack, nearly diverted. There was going to be all of these drones that were about to swarm the White House at the UFC event. And Kash Patel saved the day again. The 5th assassination attempt diverted. Here's what they say on state regime. Let's play it.
This breaking news just into the Fox newsroom. The FBI disrupting this alleged plot, targeting the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. Officials telling Fox a network of nearly 24 potential plotters were identified, with at least 5 people in custody right now. The suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia, to make final preparations for the attack. And the alleged plan allegedly included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation, and then steering crowds, get this, toward a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat on June 10th and worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. FBI Director Kash Patel saying, quote, "We are built to detect, respond to, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens, particularly during large gatherings like the historic UFC 250 fight." That's exactly what we did here. Over 4,300 people were in attendance for UFC 250, which included 1,200 service members. Luckily, nobody was harmed during the FBI's takedown. The event went off without a hitch.
Then Donald Trump was asked about it at the G7, and Trump apparently had no clue what was even taking place. Let's play it.
Mr. President, were you briefed on the attack plans for the UFC event at the White House? There was the FBI thwarted an attack.
I haven't heard about it, no. But I watched, the attack that I watched were the fighters. And he saw it too, by the way. He was sitting back home in his beautiful palace and he was watching it. And they were as good a fights as I've ever seen, right?
The best fight.
The best. They were. That last fight was brutal.
Wow.
And the two last, all of the fights were good.
The two fights.
It was all good. It was a great evening. It was very different for the White House, but I wish you could have been there. We built an incredible arena. Dana did a great job.
Is there going to be another fight next year, Mr. President?
Well, I don't know. I got away with it because 250 years. You know. Maybe in another 50, maybe in 300.
So now I want to share with you what I said on Sunday morning. You can go back and see for yourself the date that I predicted that this was going to happen. And I was trying to flag it. So if it did happen, I can say, look what I told you on Sunday they were going to do. Just so you know that we have a line into what they're doing at this point. So you can just see for yourself that we have an understanding, and I think you do intuitively, but like we called it to a T what they were going to say on Tuesday on Sunday morning, and about drones too. Here, this is what I said Sunday morning. Let's play it. Donald Trump is fearing for his life ahead of the UFC event tonight on his 80th birthday. He's leaking to the press that he fears a fifth assassination attempt, and he's leaking the plans out to the press about how secure the event is going to be, which in my view raises major red flags. But he's also leaking out to numerous outlets that they're worried about a drone strike hitting him tonight, and that there could be drones coming from Iran. I kid you not. There are sources close to Donald Trump and people who are speaking to the press saying that they believe that Iran may be engaged in a mission to avenge Donald Trump assassinating Soleimani back in 2020 by sending drones to kill Donald Trump tonight. And so one of the reasons for this, though, that it was obvious to me is that Trump's been going around talking about he needs the ballroom for drone proofing. So that's why it was pretty clear to me that that's what they were going to say. This morning, Washington, yeah, you see how we connect the dots here? This morning, new documents obtained by the Washington Post show the price to build the ballroom has ballooned to $600 million, up from its initial $200 million estimate, with more than half expected to be paid by U.S. taxpayers right there. And then think about all the times Donald Trump's been posting about drone port this and drone port that. Here's what they're saying. This will someday save Washington. Drone port. The drone port at the White House will be perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the world. Drone ports. Drone ports. I mean, constant posts about drone ports. And then remember what Donald Trump said when he was standing in front of the White House. If it will be drone proof, if a drone hits it, it bounces off, and it has a drone port. Here's what he said.
For military, they're very high. They're higher than just about anything else. They have a 360-degree vision of Washington, D.C. They have a massive drone capacity. Not only is it drone proof. If a drone hits it, it bounces off. It won't have any impact. But it's also meant as a drone port, so it protects all of Washington, the roof of the building. Okay? Now,
And here's what Donald Trump said to his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, when she interviewed him, so you can see for yourself also. Let's play it.
This will be the kitchen floor.
Oh, the kitchen, and then the floor above. There'll be one above that.
And then you have the drone ports, and you have the sniper ports, and you have everything above.
Wow.
It's
Can't
all
wait.
one unified unit. Yeah, it's really.
We can't wait to see.
It's going to be great. I love to watch it.
And remember what Donald Trump's been saying about the ballroom, that no government dollars would fund it. This is what he said in April.
For survival with all of the lunatics I had to beat. But it worked out, obviously, it worked out very well because here we are. But I always said I was going to do something about the ballroom because they should have one. So we'll be leaving it. It'll be a great legacy project. And I think it'll be special. You saw some renderings of the initial. I think it'll be really beautiful.
No government dollars at all.
No government dollars, no.
This is what he said in May, that the ballroom is all being funded by money and donors' money. Let's play it.
This is all my money and donors' money. This is tax-free. So everyone's talking about they're going to give money, they're going to give money. But the money they're going to give is really for the...
And here's what he said in March. Let's play it.
We didn't ask for any tax money. We have no tax. This is taxpayer free. We have no taxpayer putting up 10 cents. And
so this is what's going on. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.